Ooh, Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 6:08 and Bax and Nagle show, but Bax is not here. He's off until after the new year. I was like a little poet and I didn't even know it. But Marty Caproni is here in the studio with us, and we're not even really doing a regular show because you know why? Oh. It's almost Christmas. This is my gift to myself that I can just sit here and have a nice conversation, and then we don't have to do news and all that other good crap that we usually do every day.
All of the listeners are listening right now, and they're going, you know what? We're mailing it in until after the new year, too, Steve. So if you do it, it's fine.
That's right. And I will give you a forecast, though. It's going to be sunny today with a high of 35. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 35. It's 30 right now in downtown Springfield. We do have, we have a comedian, Rafi Gonzalez, joining us this morning after 8 o'clock. He's going to be here in the studio. He's going to be at MGM this weekend, I believe. And also, we have a Thunderbird Thursday. So we have a
lot going on.
The Thunderbirds prize pack to give away with the hats and the koozies and the glasses and the tickets and all that good stuff. So,
that's good.
That'll all be coming up later on.
And we have no Scott Zolak.
Scott Zolak today because, we're all on hiatus now.
Well, I know you love to talk sports, so if you want to carve out a couple of minutes to talk Patriots football, I'm always here for you, Steve.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, there was a thing that popped up on my Facebook this morning about Scott Zolak. It was like back in this day in 1989 or 1999 or something like that. He completed some pass to put them into the playoffs.
Yeah, he had his moments, man.
Yeah.
He had his moments. He's a good quarterback.
Yeah, he's like one of the guys with the fans in the stands.
He's great, man. I love him on the phone. He's fun. That's actually one of the reasons I like coming in on Thursdays, not just to shill my show, but to talk to Scott.
I'm always fascinated by that because I never really saw, for all the years I've been in this broadcasting business, I never actually physically saw like a broadcast booth, like where at Fenway, where
like behind the home
Joe
plate.
Castiglione sits and all that. Where is it? Where is the buy? See, that's where I don't know.
They do have a broadcast box, 50-yard line up at Gillette. I don't know if that's where he broadcasts from, but I'm assuming it's so.
It's way up high, right? Yeah, but he's with the fans. The fans are right there with you, which I thought was weird. Yeah,
but they're way more equipped, I think, than Fenway Park. I just saw it once on a tour, and they have to be ready for network TV and stuff. So they have like little mini TV setups and stuff up there and everything else. He's a fan that just happens to be in the box.
Well, he does pretty well when he's on this show every week.
And I've never brought it up to him. Remember, I always said to you, I never brought it up, but my buddy Rob, who I used to work with, my first job out of college was from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And he told me, he said, "Oh, you guys have my buddy as a quarterback." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Scott Zolak." And he said Scott had a nickname. And I've never brought it up to Scott.
What is the nickname?
He said, I hope that this doesn't lead to a pile of email, but they said they called him Buckethead.
Oh, well, that's I don't know if you really want to bring that up to Scott. Maybe
Probably
that's
not.
Something he doesn't want to remember because I've never heard anybody call him Buckethead other than you.
And I've never even heard the two words together except for the guitarist that took over Slash in Guns N' Roses. Buckethead, that's the only time I've ever heard of it. But I always remembered it. Here it is, 25 years later, and I still remember it.
So did you said you had something to tell me?
Oh, yeah.
Share with me?
Oh, yeah. So I owe you a thank you for an awkward moment.
Geez, thanks.
So, I leave here, going for a little bit, go to the school, pick up my kid into her finals or whatever, and I stop at Big Y to get her a sandwich. They have the little deli there. They make a good sandwich, so we'll go to Big Y and get a sandwich. We're waiting in line at the deli. It's already weird. The guy in front of me is doing weird stuff. He's showing the girl making the grinder pictures of the grinder that he wants on his phone. I want it filled up like this.
I want it to look like this picture.
Yeah, he's like harassing the lady about it. To the point that, we feel bad for the lady.
That's like going into McDonald's and saying, I want a Big Mac that looks exactly like that one of that picture up there.
Right. Yeah. So he's doing that to the lady. It's getting awkward. And this is why I told my daughter, I'm like, This is why I don't usually go to the Big Y in Springfield.
Yeah.
It was St. James. He's like yelling at the lady, I want 2. She goes, what kind of bread do you want? He goes, your choice. I go, what is that? Was she a bartender now?
Wait a minute. This guy goes through the whole process of telling you exactly what the sandwich needs to look like, but then doesn't care what kind of bread.
But Russian roulette with the bread.
Hey,
your choice, baby. Whatever you want.
I would have given him worst tasting bread.
Yeah. Yeah, here's the whole grain oats that's 3 days old. So he's doing this. My kid, I can, she's a decent person, so she feels the awkwardness and feels bad for this lady behind the counter too. Just when it can't get more surreal, I hear, "Hey, Marty, right?" And I turn around and I'm like, "Yeah." I don't realize that I'm wearing the sweatshirt that says Rock 102.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Hey, I just want to say I enjoy listening to you in the mornings when you're on." I go, "Oh, thanks so much." He goes, "My name's Hugh. I'm the news director at Western Mass News."
Oh, Hugh Zetlin. Yeah.
I said, "Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that very much." And then I started laughing. I go, "Sorry about Steve. I know." And it got awkward. He was like, "Yeah, no, he definitely likes to keep us on our toes." He's like, "But at least it wasn't as brutal as he is to WWLP."
Yeah. Well, I do. They've actually, Western Mass News, to their credit, has really come a long way.
Yeah.
As far as not only getting like hard hitting information out there, like they actually have answers, and it seemingly they have done less of the we're just going to put something out there just to put it out there.
Right.
They put it out there now with at least a little detail, or say at least that this is all we know right now.
Rather than just like clip and paste.
Well, I mean, look at the difference at 22 News yesterday for 2 days that after the storm the road was closed. Now the Mass DOT people that we know are like, dude, that road's not closed. It was never flooded. It's open. It was like cordoned off. But it was open, and it was still a day later. They were still putting it up on the website saying that Route 5 was closed in East Hampton.
That whole thing is, to me, emblematic of what goes on in media nowadays, because you feel bad for the ones that are there that are trying, but they're trying to do the best with limited budget, because if they're a big, giant media conglomerate, they might say to them, you get 3 reporters, where they used to have 12. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're trying to just churn out content the best they can.
And, yeah, you're right.
It's not their fault. It's whoever the bean counter is in the office saying, we only can have 3. You know what I mean?
This is I've always said this market is like the step above college radio. Like, we've made it up to this point,
Yeah. Well, it will be this week.
But this is like a little practice for these young kids that come through here and go on to these news stations. They're going someplace else. Unless they really want to stay here forever, then they'll be here forever. Like Chris Paisano, he ain't going anywhere. He could. He very well could. I think Chris could do the national dance.
Well, that's I mean, I think Rich Teddemer, Barry was
all those guys could be.
Dave, Ray Herschel, all those guys were national caliber. But they enjoyed Western Mass. They like,
Right. And then the rest of them are just they're just little latchkey kids coming in and making themselves some sandwiches and then leaving.
Like, listen, I mean, do we have the talent that you could move this show to another market? Maybe. I don't know. But why would you? It's great. Right here at Western Mass.
Yeah, but I think this show is unique to the area. And that's the thing that you can't duplicate somewhere else. We might be great here. But if you tried to move that type of humor and that type of, I mean, obviously you'd have to gear everything towards whatever location you were in.
Yeah. I think Bax is super professional with what he does, right? Like, I think that guy could do radio
God. Have
anywhere.
You listened to this show?
No,
listen, it's not just me screwing up the buttons. And my excuse is I'm not on this side of the board that much, but he is.
You're captain of the big ship for the next week. But my point is, a lot of people who have national talent, like, they just come here and they enjoy the area. It's a great area to live. It's a great area to grow up or have a family or whatever. So that's what, some of those people, they fall in love with the market and they stay. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's great. I will say this, because I have done radio around the country. I said this the other day. I didn't say it on air, but this morning show to me is what morning radio should be, and around the country, it's not this. Like you come in as a comedian, you're sitting in the chair, and everyone's quiet, and they're just like, "Yeah, it's good." So how long are you in the market? Oh, you're here for 5 days.
Small
good for
talk.
you.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they come back from commercial, like, "All right, we're back, everybody. How's it going?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "What happened to your voice? Like, what's going on?"
Well, they got throaty. They got they have an agenda that's set up by a company that says you need to,
it's sound effects. It's like
they tried to do that here, you know, and
it didn't work.
Didn't really fly very well, but they tried. But it doesn't. It's one of those. I don't know. I can get into the whole dynamics of the whole business, but I like how you said I'm the captain of the ship for the next week.
Yeah.
Like Captain Hazelwood? Like this is the Exxon Valdez?
No,
and,
that's more of a pirate ship, like a really dirty pirate ship.
Oh, I was thinking like a drunken captain.
That's also fair.
Driving off the coast into rocks.
That's
left
all.
and right.
That's all fair.
Hey, the ship made it. I mean, it's a little limpy.
Hey,
but
if we get through the week without you having to do a press conference,
yeah,
like the Valdez captain,
yeah, that's something we don't want to do.
Yeah. If you do that, you'll be fine.
But we got lots of stuff coming up later on this hour. Again, this is not your typical Bax and Nagle show, even though it's still called that. Marty Caproni is here. We're just going to take a couple of breaks per hour, and then we'll play some great classic rock music in between. I bet you'll hear Tom Petty.
Oh, you think so?
Oh, I 100% guarantee it.
What do you think the odds are? I might hear some Rush or some Zeppelin.
We could make that happen for you. We could make it happen for you. I bet you.
All right.
All I have to do is just whittle my hand right to the computer
see?
screen, and I guarantee you Rush, Tom Petty, and AC/DC will be on tap this morning.
Well, I know the listeners are like, God, we haven't heard enough of it, so we
Wow,
can get more.
I hope they play Free Fallin'. It is 6:20. It's Bax and Nagle with Marty Caproni and Rock 102.
Staples Holiday Deals means amazing sales.
Rock 102, Springfield's classic rock. It is 6:43, and who was that? Well, Green Day. Yeah, I don't know. I forget sometimes. I'm on vacation mode myself, even though I'm not really on vacation. We're on like a morning show light this week because Bax is out, and I really don't feel like doing a whole lot of news. I mean, we'll talk about some news stories going around the area here right now, but I'm not really interested. I'm calling it in.
You're phoning this one in, huh?
Yeah.
I'm fired up.
Yesterday, we ended it on a high note.
Yeah.
As far as the show, the full show
was great
for the end of the year, and that was that. And if you want, you can go listen to my Dom Dom's Night Before Christmas by going to rock102.com and checking that out.
You should do it again. One more time.
No, we'll play it Saturday for the best of stuff.
All right.
But you can go to the website.
Well, if you come to, if you said you might come to Loft tonight.
I might, yeah. I'm actually, I will come to Loft tonight.
All right,
I will definitely
now,
do, but I'm probably not going to be there for the dinner or the appetizers.
All right, well, just say I know you don't want to socialize with anyone. You just want to come be funny.
No, you know what? I have a reunion, if you will.
Oh, what's that? Class reunion?
No, it's a railroad reunion. Yeah.
Just all the railroad guys?
Yeah, just hanging out with a bunch of the old codgers, the ones that haven't died yet. We're going to go out and have a few pops and,
tell some war stories?
Tell some war stories about the railroad.
Over that time, we had 7 cars. 7 cars.
Well, the funny thing is my dad was the manager there for years.
So funny.
I got the job through pure nepotism.
Yeah, of course.
It was the only way you could get a job.
As it should be on the railroad, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's one of those family traditions. Like
right.
You're an alcoholic and you work for the railroad.
that's
you need
it.
to go work there, and a great bunch of guys. I always enjoyed working with. Well, I can't say I always enjoyed working with them. It was a railroad. Like how enjoyable could that be?
So, you know what though? Sometimes you work with those people. Like I'm sure anyone listening knows it's like if you ever worked in a factory or shipping and receiving or whatever, the job can suck.
Yeah.
But sometimes the people you work with.
Yeah.
Those are the best personalities, and they make it like fun to go to work, even though you're like, ugh.
Oh yeah,
you go to work like this is gonna be awesome.
I had a bunch of like crap retail jobs, and I was a waiter for a few years at Pizzeria Uno's up at the Holyoke Mall.
Oh yeah.
And but I see a lot of those people that have gone on to actually the superintendent, the former superintendent of West Springfield Schools used to be a bartender there.
Well, you know, this is one of the things. People always look down on people who are in like the retail or wait staff or bartenders or whatever. But to do that job, you really have to have a mind where you can work fast and under pressure and multiple tasks at once. And those are the people that are usually like the ones that are like, oh, I got my master's. One day they're like, I got my PhD. You know what I mean? Like, and those are the ones that are successful in life. You know what I mean? Those are the ones that really crank it. I still remember when I was in college working in the factory out in Munson. I worked at Zero Corp in the summers out there. And I worked with this guy, Matt Blatchley. This guy was awesome. We did the ship and receiving.
How do you remember names like that?
I just do.
I just remember a guy named this or a guy named that.
No, I remember him. Yeah. And he was such a good dude that it made it fun for me to go into work because all we would do is laugh all day. We work our tail off, you know what I mean? But we would laugh all day. And I was like, I could do this job forever if I worked with Matt. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, yeah, I could do this, you know? Kind of like this job, you know what I mean? It's fun to come in here and talk with you and Bax and stuff like that. Everyone's always like, oh, does it suck getting up in the morning? I'm like, no. I'm like, most times I do it for free. It's fun.
That wasn't the railroad.
No.
That was more like
misery.
Hey, good morning, F-stick. You know, that was
your
greeting when you walked in the door kind of thing. And nobody, listen, and I remember the one time they were like, oh, you know, we might hire a woman in here. And I'm like, why? So we can all be brought up on charges within a week?
By the end of the day.
Just the type of conversation would go around. It was a male workplace, so it was always something that would never fly in a regular office anywhere.
We had a lady out at Zero, and she used to work. Zero used to make these like cabinets for the military, for submarines and stuff. And they also made those briefcases. Like when you watch a movie and they're like something valuable is in the briefcase, it's like that silver briefcase. We made those. And she worked in the briefcase line. There's another guy who was a Major League Baseball pitcher, and he worked on the line. Those two were older. They were sweet. They were charming. The lady was like really religious. So anywhere else around the factory, the conversations, men and women, were just, you couldn't have them in today's world. You know what I mean? They're like the most sexist and ridiculous conversations. But when you worked on the line with her, it was just
that was the fun.
You had to be like, you had to be on your best, you know?
There's one guy that I'm going to see tonight. His name is, his nickname is Boffo the Chimp, right? I don't even know how he got the name. I just know that his name is one of the coolest, funniest guys you ever want to meet, but he's so like he's not like out there. He's just, but he has a really great sense of humor. And when I first started working here, I was also working there at the same time, and I was doing I would do nights here. I'd do Get the Lead Out.
And, of course I remember that.
And there was also this segment called Today in Rock History. It was just all it was this crappy news service thing, and you'd have to read like these little facts. Well, then I'm like, well, let's make it a little funny, and I was trying to write little jokes to go along with the facts. And then I would bring the sheet into him, and I would say, here, you come up, because he knew a lot more of the music than I did. You know, some of the older stuff. And he would write some gems, man. This guy would write some really funny jokes, and I would read them. And I think I still have some of them at home on recording.
Dude, that was what it was like. So when I worked out there in the factory on the shipping and receiving dock, like I'm sure there's some people listening right now working in a factory in a shipping and receiving dock. And they should get all their coworkers to come to Loft tonight because it's going to be great. Yeah. But there would be a boom box like taped up to the wall so it wouldn't fall over, and it was Rock 102 all day long. Yeah, so that was what it was.
That's how you kept it on.
That was it.
How we kept it alive throughout Western Mass.
Yeah, and that's what I always think of, like when I get up early to drive in here, and I'm like, this sucks, but I'm like, nah, you know, there's so many people that are, you know, right now they're gearing up to climb up on a roof and do roofing in 30 degrees, but they're listening to the station.
I can't think of any other job that I would get up so early in the morning for and actually be looking forward to coming in here.
Yeah.
You know, because we're going to laugh. We're going to laugh at some point. Even if you're having the worst day ever, you know you're at least going to laugh when you get here.
That I think of that always, and then I like, to me it's not even going to work. It's like going to hang out with you and back. You know what I mean? It's like fun to me. But I do always think of all the people that are listening that are doing these jobs. You know, maybe they're in an auto body shop right now or whatever. You know,
one of the jokes I just remembered from that today in rock history. Yeah, because it was just these lines that would come across, and it would be like, and it was something stupid, like nobody would even really care about it. And it says, today, back in whatever year, Eric Clapton's Promises hit number 9 on the charts.
Oh God!
And his
I already know where you're going.
And his joke was, coincidentally, it was the 9th time he promised his wife that he would quit doing cocaine.
That's actually better than what I thought it was going to be.
Well,
I thought it was going to be worse.
No.
In porn taste.
We can't go that. We can't go that dark.
No.
Not that. Just think 3 Minute a Baby.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Anyway.
Well, you should take Boffo and Boffo the Chimp and the whole gang and take them down to the show.
I'm going to suggest that to the group and see what they say.
We're going to have hot cocoa. We're going to have appetizers. We're going to have some cookies, and we're going to have buffet dinner. We're going to have comedy show. $20 if you reserve in advance.
I don't know if they'd like the hot cocoa or not.
Well, you can also, for like a little bit of money, you can buy a shot and pour that into the free hot cocoa. So,
look at that, huh?
Little winter warmer for yourself.
Little winter warmer.
Little Christmas cheer, if you will.
They encourage that kind of behavior out in Las Vegas. I remember I was in a casino at like 9 o'clock in the morning there, and this guy walks up. There was a Starbucks inside the casino.
Yeah.
And I'm standing behind him at the Starbucks, and I get a coffee, and he gets a coffee, and then I walk over to go play some slot machines, and this guy is at the bar going, "Can I get a Jameson to pour?" And he takes the Jameson and he pours it right into the coffee, and I'm like, man, that's a breakfast of champions right there.
I've gotten offered Vegas 3 times, and I've never gone.
Why?
Because I don't know what it is, but every story I've ever heard from any of my friends, my buddies Paul and Mike, they all went out there, Jeff, Flang, like they all went out to Vegas when we were kids. And the stories they'd come back with, I was like, I could never do that. And they're like, why? I'm like, because I feel like I will die. You know what I mean? The fact that there's always something going on 24 hours a day, you can drink at any time.
Yeah, but you got to remove yourself from that and watch the crap show that's going on around you. That is the most.
Now I can.
Yeah.
In my this age. But in my 20s, 30s, even early 40s, it was like, I don't think I have the will. I just, like, even when I go to New York City, like, I don't want to just like be at the club and then it's done. Like, I'm out 3 a.m. still eating pizza, talking to comics.
Close till 4.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then I come home after 2 days in New York and I'm like, why am I so tired? It's like, oh, that's right. I didn't sleep. You know, I slept like 3 hours a night or whatever. But that's because there's all this stimulus. There's all this stuff always going on. And I know Vegas is like that on steroids.
You know, it's weird because it's like, you know, you can have access to anything you want 24 hours a day.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's not like here where, okay, well, even if you're an alcoholic, the bar is going to close at 1:30 anyway, no matter what happens.
Right.
Like, there's going to be a lull in between. This is a 24-hour a day
which is
party.
Why, yeah, which is what. And when you do comedy, you go out there. You don't go out there for less than a week.
Yeah.
You know, you're usually out there for a full week, which a full week anywhere is a lot. You know, when you're doing this.
A full week here is a lot.
Yeah. But it's a little more reserved, if you will.
We got more of this great morning show banter coming up after 7 o'clock. It's Bax and Nagle show. Bax is out until after the new year, and then we'll be back with more crappy content.
Crap, is that what this is? Now I feel now you got me.
Well, you know, I'm not really feeling it from your side of the table.
All right. Well, I'll try to. I'll just try to step it up.
It's 6:55 with Bax and Nagle and Marty Caproni on Rock 102.
Mexicalito Restaurant is Mexican.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock at 7:07 and Van Halen on Rock 102. It's the Bax and Nagle show. Bax is out, and Marty Caproni is here in the hot seat this morning.
Stuck with me.
You're stuck with you. It's
for a week.
Going to be sunny today with a high of 35. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 35. It's 29 right now in downtown Springfield. Now, I What do you want to do? Oh, wait. Let's talk. First of all, let's talk about the show that's coming up tonight at Loft.
Yeah, well, now you've officially said you're going to come do a spot, and you're going to.
I will be there tonight. I
tell
will
a
do
Christmas story.
A quick 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, do whatever.
Or if, like I usually tell people 5 or 10, I'll go up for 45.
Yeah,
we'll be up there. We'll be good.
So tonight I got Lee Syatt, who, if you know, are familiar with Joey Coco Diaz, is a really popular comedian, podcast and everything. He's co-host a podcast with Joey Coco Diaz. He'll be out. I have a comic coming in who lives out in the Berkshires, but he was voted funniest comedian in Austin, Texas.
Yeah,
he's coming in. I've got the usual slate of characters, everybody, and then I got now hopefully you and myself.
Yeah,
but more importantly, we're gonna do the doors an hour early, and we're gonna have appetizers and hot cocoa and some Christmas music. We're gonna make it fun. There's gonna be ugly sweater contest. We might even do a raffle or two.
Just a bunch of comics and patrons sitting around shooting the shiznit, right?
Yeah, and well, my point in doing this too was for people who, like, say you own like a garage, right? And you're listening to Rock 102 all the time, and you're like, we didn't even do a Christmas party. We don't know what to do. I don't have a ton of money to take the employees to a Christmas party. All you got to do is just send me a message, reserve online. It's $20. So you could take out your staff of 10 for $200 for dinner and a comedy show and some apps.
You know, last hour we were talking about people you work with and how it's fun.
Yeah.
Even if you work for a big corporation, let's say they handed everybody here's a $5 coffee card.
Right.
Let's say they gave that to everybody,
as they do.
That's your gift. You know what? Take your group of coworkers that you really enjoy hanging out with and say, hey, let's make a night out of this. Let's get a group of 10 or 15 people and head on over to the Loft Comedy Club.
That's my idea for doing this, and I'm doing 25 at the door, but 20 in advance if you either Venmo or you send a message reserving saying I got 6 people in my party or whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, it's going to be a fun night like it always is. It's never not a good time. It's going to be a fun night. And, also there are people that might be out Christmas shopping or whatever, and they're just like, I don't feel like going home right after. It's great. You can come at 6, you can come at 7. Show starts at 8.
Have a nightcap.
Yeah.
Right there at the Loft.
Yep.
Speaking of Christmas, I'm reading this story here on 22 News.
Yeah.
4 people, including a 13-year-old boy, were arrested in Ludlow Tuesday after reports of packages being stolen from a resident's home. According to the Ludlow Police Chief Velatis, on Monday, officers received a report from a Ludlow resident that someone had taken a package from their home. That resident was able to provide police with a photo of the suspected vehicle, a 2010 Honda Odyssey. Ooh, the minivan.
Oh.
Yeah. Then on Tuesday around 5:09 p.m., police received another report of a package theft from another Ludlow resident. The suspected vehicle was later seen around 8:09 p.m. in the area of East Street and then on Cedar Street. Officers arriving at Cedar Street found the suspected vehicle and observed the passenger of the car run onto a property and run back to the vehicle. Police conducted a traffic stop in the vehicle and detained all 4 people inside. A package with the address of the previous home was in plain sight inside the vehicle. Police searched the vehicle and found more packages with different addresses not associated with anyone inside the vehicle. In total, more than 20 items were found and believed to have been stolen from people's properties, including several items that were outside of their packaging. An airsoft pistol was also seized. That's in case somebody comes up.
Oh, yeah, so you can show them a gun like you're a tough guy.
I painted the tip black.
Yeah. Let me say this. They call them porch pirates.
Yeah.
These people that go on and steal. If you're doing that you shouldn't do it any time of year, but if you're doing it at Christmas, there's another special place in hell for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the level of disregard you have. Imagine you're just some hardworking parent. You're like a single mom or a single dad or whatever, or just parents, and you get your kids gifts. You're already doing that thing with Amazon where you're worried about, is it going to make it in time? Is it going to make it in time? And then you're still at work and it makes it. And then these idiots come up and take it. You know what? Good for the Ludlow police for arresting them.
Yeah. It was also discovered that the vehicle had been reported stolen in the city of Holyoke. All 4 people inside were arrested. They were charged with receiving stolen property, all kinds of charges. But 18 from Springfield, 19 from Three Rivers, and a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old from Three Rivers.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing out there. And here's another thing. if they take that and they put it on Facebook Marketplace and they're selling it and it's shady and you're one of the people who goes and buys it, you're not much better than them. You can tell. If someone's telling you to come to their apartment in Holyoke to get a, some kind of gift that does not make any sense for them to have, you're trash too.
Hey, I got a KitchenAid mixer here at this shady apartment in Holyoke.
Come down here on Lyman Street and pick up your KitchenAid mixer.
Half price.
Exactly. Fell off a truck.
I used to know a guy years ago who was eventually caught and arrested, but he was stealing metal from his workplace.
Oh yeah,
and then turning it in for cash and then buying I think it was oxycodones or something like that he was doing. But he had this other gig going where he'd be telling people, and I never participated in this because I knew I could see it from a mile away how illegal it was. He's like, hey, if you ever need power tools, he's like Milwaukee's or Stanley's or whatever like that. He's like, my buddy, he knows somebody at Home Depot that can get you these for half price of what they are on the shelf, which sounds like a good idea. And then you find out what the scheme is. All you're doing is telling the guy, I want one of them Milwaukee impact drills. The guy walks into the Home Depot,
grabs it,
runs out of the garden center because there's usually nobody there, or there's one person there by the gate, and he was stealing them and selling them. I'm like, that's called receiving stolen property, even if you pay for it.
Right.
If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
But even that, to me, is less offensive than the idea of people taking these packages right off of someone's steps 2 days before Christmas or 3 days before.
It does take this. Well, but this is the time of year. You know what I would do? I'd bring these kids in to be arraigned, right?
Yeah.
And then have all the packages sitting out there.
Yeah, they spread on the table like they do with the drugs.
Right, but then have an extra package there where and then you tell them, hey, your bail is set at $10,000. And he's like, and if you had opened this box and you open it up and it's like a cash evidence from a previous arrest from somebody else, and be like, oh look, there was $20,000 in here, $10,000 for both of you. Sorry,
you guys just missed out.
You just missed out on it. That's a shame. That's a real shame.
You know what I like about that? I like that it's Ludlow too. Good for the Ludlow PD. Good for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Ludlow gets a bad rap just because of their location to the Mass Pike. I think that's usually what happens there.
Great city. I like Ludlow. I like it a lot.
Well, it's rural and it's urban. It's like a mix of both.
But Chicopee cops and Ludlow cops, they have their hands full, but they actually still do the job. You know what I mean? Some of these other communities, the cops I get it. They're just like, man, why am I even going to arrest them? They're going to be let out today.
Why am I even going to bother? Just like Dom Dom said, or Coachy said in the Dom Dom story yesterday. They may catch them tonight. They'll be back out on the streets tomorrow.
Yeah.
Prices for homes have gone up over the past few years, making it harder for residents to buy homes. However, the city of Springfield held a home lottery Wednesday for North End Housing Initiative homes in the Maple High Six Corners neighborhood. This was part of an effort to provide more affordable housing in the community. Janelis Agosto went to the lottery on behalf of her mother, who was first name picked in the lottery. She's like, this is like a dream come true right now. When I saw it, my mom could not stop screaming because we were so happy. My mom has been looking for a place to buy for years, and it's really hard because the quality is not good, and they ask too much money for them. The new single-family homes on Central and Pine Street in Springfield are being sold for $190,000, which is under the market value. There were 12 income-qualified buyers who reside in Springfield that were part of the lottery. People who are making 80% of the area median income, which is the cap for this program, could not qualify for houses in this market, so they were not able to move into home ownership. That's according to Jerry McCafferty, director of the Office of Housing in Springfield. With this program, she says it supports those who are moving in and the neighborhood, giving them an opportunity to be a homeowner. Within the next 30 to 60 days, the chosen residents will get to move into their new homes. It's about time they started doing something like this where people can actually afford to live somewhere.
Well, the good part of that, too, you give people ownership, not just renting. You give them ownership, they're actually going to maintain the property, hopefully, and take care of it and care about the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas if they're renting, they don't care if, the house is on fire or there's trash on the yard or whatever,
I saw a meme last week, and it was kind of, not that I take truths in all memes that come across my computer screen. But one of them was said the bank doesn't trust me enough to pay $1,500 a month in mortgage, but I have good enough credit to pay $2,300 a month to rent a place out.
Right.
And it's true. It's
It is.
I don't. It's seemingly a market that's not in your favor.
That's
a game that's not in your favor.
The great scam. The great scam.
The big great scam. Anyway, so that's all I got for now.
That's it?
Yeah. Unless you got something else you want to throw in here.
Well, I we won't talk Patriots right now, but I there's a couple of Patriots stories that I wanted to pick your brain on.
Well, go ahead. What story did you want to pick my brain on about the Patriots? Have anything to do with Taylor Swift? I'm totally in.
Well, did you see there was an article about, I guess the Taylor Swift got booed at at Gillette?
Yeah.
And I guess Travis Kelce was very shocked that she was booed at Gillette.
Why would he be shocked about that? I mean, you're coming to a town that, it's the worst team in the NFL right now. Like
everyone's angry.
It's miserable around here. The
Yeah.
weather sucks. Like nobody's really happy about anything. What makes you think that Taylor Swift would have been more welcomed at Gillette Stadium?
Well, yeah. Also, the stadium is full of dads that are probably like you and I, that like they couldn't afford to take their kid who loves Taylor to a concert for $3,000 a ticket.
Yeah.
So, you know what? They have a few pops in the parking lot. They get in the game, and they're, hey, guess who's here? Taylor Swift.
I took
you know who's not here? My kid. So, hey, boo, you suck, you know.
I took you to see Taylor Swift. Do you remember that? Yeah, Dad, I also remember you getting in a fist fight with a guy up in the stands, too.
Right.
Thanks so much. I appreciate that.
So, yeah. So, it didn't shock me. But, no, there's that. But my opinion question for everybody is, do you think Belichick is gone after the year? That's been the question for the last.
I don't think so.
I don't either. I don't think they should get rid of him. I think they should just get a GM for him and to help him out and let him get a better offensive coordinator and give him give him as many years as he needs.
Do you want to know my theory on it?
Yeah.
I think it's a plan. They already know, like they started playing. They're like, this we can't come up with anything with these guys.
Right.
Let's play the worst we possibly can, get the best draft picks for next season, and start to rebuild this team all over again.
Well, that's the other thing that people are missing is they can never come out and say, hey, it's a rebuilding year. They never can, right? But if you use this year to coach up the talent that could be coached up, they have a ton of cap space for next year. And now they have great draft capital. They really could, in the next 2 years, if Belichick's coaching, have a Super Bowl contending team again and be set up for the future for the next 5 years.
Yeah, well, I think that might be part of the big plan.
I don't understand people who are like, I want him gone, boo, he sucks, this and that. The guy still can coach better than almost anybody.
I don't understand, for all the years of the joy that he brought to this area, all of a sudden now you get a couple of bad seasons in the mix.
Everyone's
like, oh,
upset.
my God, get rid of him. He sucks. No, he doesn't.
Oh,
he's like one of the greatest coaches that ever played the game.
Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Tom Brady's the one who made Bill Belichick. No, pretty sure Tom Brady definitely helped, but pretty sure Belichick also helped Tom Brady become Tom Brady. And he drafted him, and he developed him.
I feel like I'm on a show that we were on last year. Do you want to hear a fun fact?
Yeah. Oh, yes, I do.
A fun fact
Survey.
for you. My mother went to high school at the high school that Vince Lombardi coached football at.
Wow.
Before he went on to coach
become
pros.
Vince Lombardi?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, St. Cecilia's High School in New Jersey.
Was he was a good football coach?
Apparently he was. I don't think
they named the Super Bowl trophy after him, so I'm going to go, yeah, probably.
He has a whole field named after him. I mean, it's like...
You know who was the football coach when I went to Cathedral was Billy Wise.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Bill had backed up Bob Greasy, who was a great quarterback in Miami. And I'm telling you what, man, we'd just be in gym class. He'd be like, just run out there and catch this. When that guy threw a football, to this day, you can tell someone who played professionally when they throw a football. I've never heard a football sizzle in the air the way he would throw you a football and you would just hear,
yeah,
and then you'd catch it and you'd be like, ow, 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 ow.
It hurt.
Yeah.
Throwing the heat.
Yeah, but he was a great football coach. I don't know what happened to him, but
Sometimes you see coaches, like whether you go to your like kids stuff, and you can tell some of these guys are like, they're really mean and they're really into it. On the opposing teams.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, this guy was probably one injury away from making it to the Red Sox.
Right. And now he's just playing out his fantasy through everyone else.
Come on, guys, let's go.
Yeah. Hey, but a good coach, like a great coach, you'll always remember. You'll always remember a good coach, whether they were a fun coach or they helped you coach, whatever.
Oh, I had my high school football coach was Smackers.
Smackers?
His name was McNally, and his last name, and they called him Smackers.
Did you play football?
Yeah, he was also the biology teacher too.
Well, that's also important. Yeah.
And then he would read us So I had him as a football coach before I had him as a biology teacher. And when you got him into the biology room, he would read biology like he was running plays. 60 stack, on 2, go! Like he would do that.
Dissecting the frog with
so then he'd be like, he'd be talking about like sex and stuff. And he'd be like, and then the sperm meets the egg and zygote, son. That's how a baby's made.
I had my coach when I was at Cathedral and I ran track was Frankie Keogh.
Oh, there you go.
And I'll tell you what, the guy was a good coach. Say what you want, whatever. He was a good coach. He was hilarious. And he was a fun coach too, but he was a good coach.
Well, there you go. That's that's our high school. I don't even know what conversation this is, what we're doing here. I'm just trying to get through the day. We have a comedian, Rafi Gonzalez, coming up after 8 o'clock. He's going to be at MGM this weekend, and we'll speak with him in the studio.
Let's hope he's funnier than us today.
Let's hope so. Well, I don't think it's not that we're not funny. It's just like I don't know where to go with this. And I'm like, I really just want to take a break.
That's it? You're done?
Well, we've been talking for like 15 minutes, so I think it's time
just
to
bailing it in.
We'll get more with Marty Caproni coming up with on the Bax and Nagle show at 7:25 at Rock 102.
Rock 102. How many holiday parties do you need to bring?
7:44 and Sticks on Rock 102. Your Pioneer Valley forecast is going to be sunny with a high of 35 today. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 35. It's 29 right now in downtown Springfield. Bax and Nagle show. Bax is out until well after the new year, and then Marty here is going to be filling in with me, and we're just doing this light morning show program. I don't feel the need to go through sports and news and weather. Well, I do the weather, but that's about it.
Listen, I'm just here to plug tonight, baby.
That's the only reason why you're in here.
Yeah,
That's
and now you're coming. See, this has worked out for me. Now you're coming tonight, so I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm gonna make an appearance. I'll probably do 5, 10, maybe 45 minutes, and we'll go from there. Yeah.
See how it goes. Well, I hope that people come tonight. Please, if they're listening, come out tonight. Tonight's the night. It's gonna be fun, man.
Yeah.
You sure you don't want to get early for hot cocoa?
I told you I got a little reunion I got to go to with some.
Take them over. Get Bobo.
I'm gonna try, but I don't know. I mean, these guys, when they're walkers and everything, they can't make it past a certain threshold.
All right.
But I don't know if the.
But what was his name? Bobo the chimp.
Listen, you don't have handicap access up there. You can't get the walker with the tennis balls on the bottom to get up the stairs in that place. So. I'm just saying. So, but anyway, today is also a Thunderbird Thursday, so I'll tell you more about that in just a little bit.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So, show starts at 6 tonight over at Loft Comedy Club. Well, you're having apps and you're having
6 to 7 is gonna be like appetizers, hot cocoa, cookies, all that stuff. 7 o'clock dinner will come out. I believe it's gonna be a nice chicken stir fry buffet dinner. Then 8 o'clock will be the show, my friend.
Well, there you go.
Tell your office workers, your coworkers, your friends, whatever, you got a little Christmas party now. It's cheap. $20 if you buy in advance, $25 at the door.
Yeah, make sure you Venmo Marty to get the discount price.
That's it. They don't even have to Venmo if they don't have Venmo, because I get a lot of people that are like, I don't have. If they just send me a message.
Hold me a ticket and I'll.
I got 4 people in my party. I'm coming. Then there'll be a reserve list, and they will pay the $20. It's $25.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
See, that's a great way to get on the list.
I'm trying to make it as affordable an option for people as I possibly can.
Just don't be a jerk and actually show up if you're going to show up. Don't do that because then you need to account for how many people you're going to have food for.
Right. And if someone reserves, like, I got a table of 6 and then they don't show, the next time they try to reserve, I'm going to be like, no, thanks.
Yeah, if you got a 99% I'm sure I'm going, then you can put your name on the list.
Yeah,
if
right.
You're like 80%, don't do that.
Right. And for the $5, just pay that.
Right. I'm reading this story here. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission has banned American drugstore chain Rite Aid from using AI facial recognition technology for surveillance purposes for 5 years. The chain deployed the technology for 8 years across 200 stores to help identify those who had previously shoplifted from its outlets. If a match was spotted, security staff would confront the potential thief and order them to leave. But Rite Aid often got it wrong, the FTC claimed. During one 5-day period, Rite Aid generated over 900 separate alerts in more than 130 stores from New York to Seattle, all claiming to match one single image in the database.
Oh, God.
So, according to the commission, the retailer failed to implement reasonable procedures and prevent harm to consumers in its use of facial recognition technology in hundreds of stores. The company's facial recognition database was built by 2 companies contracted by Rite Aid, including images depicting tens of thousands of individuals. Many of the images, the FTC alleged, were low quality and came from store security cameras, employee phones, and even news stories. So they would take like a news story, take the image, an image of an image, and say, yeah, let's run this through a database. I'm sure the computer can pick it up. This resulted in thousands of false positives and led to targets being followed, searched, harassed, removed, and having the police called on them, sometimes in front of friends and family. The FTC also found actions instigated by facial recognition disproportionately impacted people of color. The technology sometimes matched customers with people who had originally been enrolled in the database based on activity thousands of miles away, or flag the same person at dozens of different stores all across the U.S. We have this one shoplifter who's hitting all of the Rite Aids across the entire country.
Maybe it's a case of quintuplets, identical quintuplets, and they're all robbing the same store. What do you fall on this? What do you think? What's your opinion?
You know,
you have an opinion?
I don't. I guess it's wrong that people steal, but then in the same sense, it's a giant corporation. I don't really have any sympathy for, No,
but I watch these videos that are coming out now in some of these places, California and stuff, where the people come in a mob and they just clear out a whole store. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's lawlessness, which I am not for. And I'm like, okay. So my first thought was I support that. But then when you find out that it's misidentifying people and you think to yourself, imagine you're just going in with your kid to pick up some cough medicine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm against that.
Right.
But it's just why even bother using this technology?
Well, and here's the other part of this thing that people don't see coming. Once you start employing this technology, before you know it, Steve, there's going to be robots. There's going to be robot security guards. You know what I mean? Yeah. You see some of these videos of these robots they have now. They move like humans. They're it's literally like Terminator 5. You know what I mean? That's what we're headed towards. And can you imagine just some robot throwing you to the floor and handcuffing you because you have the wrong ID? Well,
remember when in RoboCop 2 when they changed the chip inside of him and he was smoking for smoking in public?
Yes, That's literally what we're headed for. And all these Elon Musk, all these people are like, hey, this is a real danger to humanity. This is a real problem. This is a real... And people are just like, we're all like, I'm too busy on my phone. Look at this funny reel of a cat falling off a sofa.
Think about who we are as human beings. We have the world in our hands.
Yeah.
We have all this technology all in this tiny little phone here.
I hate it.
But we don't use it for the greater good of humanity.
No.
We use it to, like you just said, to share cat videos. And,
right.
Wind up going down a rabbit hole at 3 o'clock in the morning watching videos on YouTube.
It makes me long for the old days of when we grew up where you didn't know where your friends were. You weren't connected to people all day. No one had access to you. If you were out, you were out. They called and left a message, and then you'd get back to them at the end of the day. You used to, I don't know how it was in your neighborhood growing up, but in mine, we would drive around on our bikes, and you just find all the bikes in front of one house, and you'd be like, oh, everyone's at this house, and then you go. Now these kids are all connected. They're on Instagram, checked in. They have their friends' phone locations on their locations. They don't leave the house. It's just...
They're tracking each other. They know exactly where they are at all times.
Yeah, Steve Jobs thought he was doing a good thing. I get that. Terrible for humanity. And I think everyone thinks this AI is going to be a good thing, but it's also, mark my word, it's going to be terrible for humanity.
Oh, absolutely. It's, but we're okay with it.
I'm not.
I know you're not okay with it, but
no
I
one
think
cares
the
what I
general
say.
population is just what are you going to do? For all the years that people have been complaining about privacy rights, dude, your phone has been listening to you since the cell phones came out.
100%. You ever do that? Do you ever mention stuff that there's no way you would do just to test, and then your phone serves you an ad?
Oh, I do it all the time.
Yeah.
I matter of fact, it happened to you and I. You and I were talking about something a couple of weeks ago, and all of a sudden,
the friend suggestion came up with that person.
The friend suggestion came up with that person. It's like it was listening to us the entire time.
Yeah. That's your boy Zuckerberg. Another one. Thought he was doing good. Now look.
Well, he's just driving us into a giant pit of lava that we're all gonna.
This is a great way for you to stay in touch with everyone in your life. And you're like, that's cool. Now I get to argue with the kid who sat next to me freshman year in study hall about which bathroom people get to use. Oh, great! I needed that in my life.
Well, I mean, that's helpful information.
No.
What bathroom are you going to use during study hall?
I identify as whatever bathroom's open at the time I need to use it. That's the way I go.
Yeah, I have no. I've been gender neutral on the bathrooms for years. Listen, whatever's open is open.
That's it.
That's the one you're going to use.
Yeah, everyone who grew up in a house with one bathroom but had siblings understood that was a gender neutral restroom. Yes.
Yeah, I know. But bathrooms have been gender neutral for years. What's the difference now?
Right.
Yeah.
But now they had to make it a thing. When you go to New York City, some of these restaurants and stuff, that's the weird thing. Everyone uses the same bathroom, but like you have like a stall that you go into that's like a sealed little room.
Yeah.
But there's nothing more humiliating than going in and let's say you take a dump and then you come out and you just see some girl like all done up for her night out and she's walking into that one and you're like, oh, God.
Sorry, honey. Sorry I ruined it for you.
Sorry.
Yeah, that is a little.
Those fake eyelashes you spent all that time putting on are gonna melt right off your face as soon as you walk in there.
Well, you know what? That's the kind of gal you want to have stick around, Marty, because if she can handle that,
oh God,
if she can handle you at your worst, she can handle you at your best.
Another thing Facebook has brought us is the meme culture of philosophy, right? With the dumb live, laugh, love.
Yeah, well, hey,
if you can't handle me at my worst,
it works for some.
Yeah. How about no one wants to handle you, period?
Probably not. I wouldn't want to handle somebody like that.
Not anyone who posts that meme.
Actually, yeah, I'll give you the fork. Actually, you know what it is? It's a Thunderbird Thursday. This is what I wanted to talk to you about. I got 4 tickets on the ice for this Saturday's game, 4 hats and 4 koozies, 4 stickers, and a Thunderbirds drawstring bag. And caller 10 right now at 293-1021 is going to pick up that prize pack. Again, it's the Thunderbirds. It's a Thunderbird Thursday here at Rock 102, and I got the big Thunderbirds prize pack again. Caller 10, 293-1021. Good luck from Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It is 8:07 and bad company on Rock 102. Your Pioneer Valley forecast today going to be sunny with a high of 35. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 35. It's 29 right now in downtown Springfield. Bax and Nagle Show. Bax is out until after the first of the year. He's on vacation. Marty Caproni is here. And also in the studio with us, joining us this morning, is comedian Rafi Gonzalez. Good morning, Rafi. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning, Western Mass. How's everybody doing?
You're doing a show at MGM this Friday and Saturday, right? Tomorrow and Saturday night?
Yep, that's right. Right in the heart of beautiful Springfield. We'll be there.
What time the shows start over there? 8 o'clock?
Yeah, the shows start at 8 o'clock in the big Armory building outside right by the ice rink. So,
oh, you gonna skate over your show?
If you don't like the comedy, you can just go outside and bust your face on the ice.
Oh, there you go. That works for That works for a lot of people
this weekend.
So what? Let's find out more about you.
Sure.
Let you introduce you to the listening audience. There's some of you who may have not seen your comedy. You're a local guy, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Westfield, Massachusetts. I was born in Puerto Rico, and then at the age of 4, we moved to Westfield. Westfield is where we went. And,
very, very similar in climate. And
I used to joke around that all my family went to Springfield and we just got lost and took a wrong turn. And we grew up in the Whip City, so
the best wrong turn you could have taken.
I mean, I gave myself a chance.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I went to Westfield State, and that was like my first experience with Westfield.
You're an owl.
And doing the I'm not really. Yeah, they just want to know, who are you?
It's all coming together.
Yeah, but anyway, but that's where I learned about the Whip City, and I didn't know what that meant.
Oh yeah,
I had no idea that it was horse whips, wasn't it?
I hope so.
It's because at first I thought it was like, oh, do they churn butter here or something? Like, what do they do out here?
I thought it was the home of dominatrix. That's what I thought it was. I didn't realize.
Oh, so you went a completely different route than everybody
Sorry.
else.
Yet to be discovered. Yet to be discovered. Yeah. No, they manufactured whips, I guess, and then they ran with the idea. So
it really shouldn't be called the Whip City anymore.
No,
I think it should be called a traffic nightmare is what it really needs to be.
They need another green bridge is what they need. Throw another one in there.
A third green? You can't have a three-way.
Just have it going perpendicular to it. Just go the other way. Who knows where you'll end up.
Did you ever hear about the rumor over in Westfield about the people who live over in the Munger Hill area, the ones that have the pineapples on the doors of the swinger party people? Yeah.
That's the place to do it, Ridgecrest.
Listen, I don't have any proof.
I mean, there's nice houses up there. If you're going to swing, do it in a nice house. Yeah. They'll probably have a charcuterie board.
You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that in Palmer when it's on an RV. You don't want the upside down pineapple on the motorhome.
That's a good point. What is exactly on a charcuterie board at a swinger party?
Yeah, I mean, there's
nothing you want to touch.
Roast beef, horseradish sauce.
Is that an Oscar Mayer wiener?
Yeah, there's a little cocktail wiener.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Vienna sausages.
This is what you can expect later on tonight in the Boom Boom Room.
That's right.
Yeah.
Salami in the shape of a rose.
I can't think of a worse thought than having an appetizer board at a swinger party. Like, I can't think of anything grosser.
Yeah, the only person eating, the one not getting any action.
Like, if you're not the first person to the charcuterie board, just leave it alone.
Well, I DJ'd, weddings and stuff for years, and I'm friends with this group of DJs that we have throughout the area, and one of them would go to these swinger. It was these hotel parties down by the airport. They'd rent out the hotel. They'd hire a DJ for the party, and then they'd rent a bunch of rooms upstairs. And then, the DJ was never part of the action. It was just the pre-action of watching them all get liquored up, and then they head up to their rooms.
So he got to feel the energy.
I always wanted one of those gigs, and I never got one.
You never?
No, because
Listen,
I wanted
to
dream.
You could dream, Steve. Maybe you get a barbecue this summer in Munger Hill.
Yeah, you never know. We could have a swinging barbecue right out in Westfield.
Another thing I don't think mixes well.
Probably
you
not.
Get hot wing sauce on your hands. It's gonna be bad for the whole neighborhood.
Yeah, that's usually you got to wash your hands very good afterwards. So, but you're a touring guy, Rafi, right?
Yeah, I started traveling a lot more in the last year because I started doing cruise ship work. So
how is that?
Oh boy,
I've heard good.
Oh my.
Well,
that's the thing. You were about to say you've heard good and you've heard bad, probably, right?
Yeah,
there's no in between. Have you guys ever done a cruise ship?
No, we've only listened to other comedians tell about how good or bad the cruise ship experience is.
It's one thing I think everyone should experience at least once. It's insane. It's a city that just floats. They got a police force. They got firefighters, engineers. They got painters. They got a morgue because people die all the time. It's amazing. They stick them in a freezer next to the ice cream, and no, it's crazy. It's not for everybody. I don't even know if it's for me.
The money's good.
The money's good.
They pay you well because they know that you're going to lose your mind doing the gig.
Oh yeah. Oh, and we draw so much people. We draw hundreds of people because there's nothing much to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So just hundreds of people, and we just kill it at the bar, and they do all that stuff. But it is insane.
And how long are you out on these excursions for? Is it like a month?
No, that's what I thought when I started, that I'd be out there forever. But you can make a good chunk of money in 3 days, and then they'll do like a back-to-back, so you can make double the money in like 6 days. So if you schedule it right, you can make a ton of money.
So you're scheduling them based on whatever the schedule of the ship is.
Yeah.
Right.
So if it's a 7-day ship, I'll do the last 3 days of that ship. I'll stay on it. It'll grab a whole bunch of new people, and I'll do the first 3 days, and then they'll fly me out. So I'm doing like 2 cruises in the middle of 2.
Now, are you allowed to how does that work? Do they give you like a room, obviously?
Yeah. Depending on the cruise line, the nicer the room, but you get all full guest privileges. You can do anything the guests do except sleep with them.
Yeah, or use the hot tub. That's one
The
of the
hot tub. Yeah, you just gotta be careful. You gotta be smart. Like Carnival, for instance. Let me just throw their name out there. This is my last time on that. No, they want you to wear a name tag, and that's just annoying because I don't want to do that.
Well, that's what I was going to say to you too. One of the other things that's kind of weird about that, right, is you get a glimpse of what real like fame must feel like for people because you're stuck in that city for whatever 3 days or 7 days or 10 days, and everyone knows you by the end of the cruise. So you can't just like go to the casino and play a slot machine or go to a restaurant by yourself without people coming up and bothering you.
Right, and the other side of that is if you suck right at the beginning, it's a
bad.
long cruise.
It's bad.
You can't even. You got to put a hood on to go get food. You just got to hide, and they throw stuff at you. But
that was the comedian that offended me last night.
Get him. He's trying to get salad. No, but it's I try to do certain things. There's a spa, there's pools, there's food. You go off on the ports. It's hard to have a bad time, but I still figure out a way.
I'm really fascinated by this whole cruise ship thing because
Steve, it's insane.
Because
there's so much to it.
I saw something on I don't know, it was like one of those 2020 shows or a Dateline or something. They were talking about all the partying that goes on among the staff on the crew, like in the belly of the ship.
That's the thing nobody knows, and I found that out right away. Every single ship, and these people come from the Philippines, Indonesia, India is the big three. They get paid absolute dog crap.
Yeah.
Right.
And they have a crew bar downstairs or wherever they can fit it, and it's like $1 for a beer, $1 for all the drinks, and these people just let loose in all sorts of different languages that you can't understand. And they're just like yelling, they're playing guitar, they have karaoke. But upstairs, you see them, and they're like, yes, hello.
Oh, yeah,
they're so
cordial.
polite, and then they just let loose.
But they only get like that one night off for like 15 days or whatever it is, so they just get hammered, right?
Well, it's not even the whole night off thing. It's whenever they're off their shift, they'll go start drinking. They'll do it every day.
Yeah.
They're just like some people here, you drink every day. Some people start early.
That's always surprising to me. Like I always like what goes on behind the scenes.
I like the downstairs because upstairs can get a little stuffy depending on the cruise ship. Like I did a luxury cruise line, and these people are just like, my helicopter. I'm like, okay, I got nothing to say to you.
My helicopter doesn't work.
Yeah, I'm only here because my helicopter broke down. And I'm like, I have $500 in my checking account.
What's your favorite one
for
to
the
do?
year?
Can you say that or not?
What's that?
Your favorite cruise line to do?
I do. Carnival is the best.
Really?
I like.
Sorry, I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
You know what? A lot of comedians that have been doing cruise ships for 30 years. They're like, I don't want to do Carnival because it's too much of a party. I like a good comedy show with energy and youth. These guys are like, oh, dude, everyone was over 80 on my show. Nobody laughed, but I got paid X amount of money. I'm like, dude, for me, that's just not worth it.
It's not.
And if you schedule it right, you can make just as much money. But I like Carnival because there's just trash from all over the country.
All in one place. Yeah.
It's like a beautiful thing.
Finest selection of trash.
Trash comes in all colors. It's a beautiful thing.
I guess if you wanted to see an accurate representation of America, what you're saying is get on a Carnival cruise ship.
Immediately.
And take a ride.
No, honestly, and people don't fight on there because they're too hammered. And it's great. It's amazing. The first ship I ever did, the horn blew, and then the DJ starts playing music up by the pool, and a Latina girl starts twerking by the pool, and a guy wearing a Confederate flag T-shirt was just eating a cheeseburger 2 inches behind her, and he's like, "Yep," and they're just high-fiving. I'm like, "This is great."
Yeah.
There it is.
If anything can bring America together,
The electric
it's
slide.
a cruise line.
It's also, so you're saying it's basically like a floating Palmer is what you're saying.
They just need a Long John Silver.
Floating Palmer.
There's no magic lantern. That's a real bomber.
It's an
I think that
experience.
was a drink at the Magic Lantern. It was called the Floating Palmer. Yeah, because you're so close.
I'm gonna try that.
That was just the name of the guy who was picking up the stripper on the way home. So
It's crazy though.
So you do cruise ships and all that stuff, and then you obviously tour throughout New England as well, right?
Yeah, those shows have lessened a bit just because I hit the ocean a lot. It's good reps. You work on your stuff because you're the only comedian on the ship, so you have to do sometimes an hour and a half of original material up to 2.5 hours. So,
but do you get like? talking about the crowds, it's a hit or miss. It's just like any other comedy show where some people are going to be really into it and some people are just going because they got the free ticket from the concierge downstairs.
No, most of the people have never, like you were saying, like you can't hide. These people run up to you and take pictures with you. They want you to sign stuff. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm not famous or anything. Like,
but you are on that cruise ship, baby.
But that's all they know, and half of them have never been to a comedy show, and they're like, there he is, the comedian. I'm like, all right.
You're the mayor of Floating Palmer by the time you're done.
Yeah, and here's another thing. The crew completely resents the comedians because we make X amount of money. We get to eat anywhere. We mingle with them, and they're serving us drinks, and they're like, screw you, buddy.
Are you on any of the lines where when the crew's not sold out, they'll put you in one of the nice suites because it's open?
I've heard of those.
Yeah,
I've heard of those.
You never experienced.
So you're below. You're mostly in a shoebox below deck next to the engine.
The last cruise I was on deck A, because when you run out of numbers, you go to the alphabet, baby. It was under 0. I'm like, I'll take 0. I'll take deck 0.
There's a comedian in Boston that we know. I'll have to tell you his name off air, but he did cruise ships. He worked for, and I think it might have been Carnival, and the captain pulling in put a hole in the side of the cruise ship, like hit something and put a hole, and he was getting on the ship, and they go, listen, whatever you do, you don't address the whole of the ship.
Yeah.
And he got on stage. He's like, how do I not address the giant hole in the side of the ship? They literally had his bags packed for him when the show was done. Wow. They were in the hallway, and he was off the ship that night.
That would be concerning to anybody, having a giant hole in the side of a cruise ship.
You would think.
But as a comic, you want to address the elephant in the room.
And you can't.
It's just what you got to do.
Yeah.
Because everyone's bursting to talk about it.
So that's what I'm getting at. With the material that, obviously there's some restrictions that they give you to do that. It can't be a blue show, I would imagine.
What's a blue show mean?
Like very...
adult content.
Adult
content.
Oh,
yeah. On Carnival, you can have adult show.
But you have to do clean, too. Like, you have to have
But
an
you
hour
also
clean
have to have
and then
clean
an hour dirty.
show, which honestly made me a better writer to do clean, but I just wasn't ready for the audiences because I'm like, all right, I can do clean. That's no problem. What I didn't expect was children to be running up on stage and kicking me.
Yeah.
Which is like, I didn't, the whole front row of my first ever PG show was all 5-year-olds. I start talking... Kid just yells out, do a magic trick. And I'm like, Jesus. Like, here we go.
Here's one. I'm going to kick you in the head, Junior. Here's your magic.
Years ago, I was invited to do comedy at like I think it was like a memorial party for somebody.
Right.
And then they're like, oh, you can do that. But they had multiple activities going on around this thing. But all these kids were in the room, and you have adults going, hey, do that Kim Kardashian thing for me, or whatever. I'm like, I'm not doing that in front of a bunch of 6-year-olds. Like, that's just not the kind of material that you need to do. The thing I would be most scared about on a cruise ship is having it stuck. You ever see the ones that are stuck out in the middle of the ocean because everybody's got... I
try not to think about that, but
diarrhea or there's some kind of sickness that
norovirus.
Norovirus.
If something comes on the ship, you're pretty much everybody's going to get it.
Or there was one that there was something with the power. They didn't have any power on the ship. And it sat out in the Gulf of Mexico for 3 days.
Right.
3 days. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, just sitting there. Thank God the thing floats. But yeah, I was just in a storm. I don't know if you've heard about the storms off the coast of Florida, but I was just down there last week.
Rough.
And this thing was rocking for 48 hours straight. And I don't get seasick, but when I got to the airport, I couldn't stop shaking. My brain was literally going from left to right. So it is, you don't feel it at all until you feel it, and you're like, oh, yeah, crap, I'm in the ocean.
When you're on solid ground, you're like, why is everything still moving?
Yeah, and I fell off the stage. I didn't fall on the ground, but I had to step off the stage during one of the shows because the boat rocked so hard.
Comedian Rafi Gonzalez is going to be at MGM tomorrow night and Saturday night for your big Christmas weekend. So make sure you go out and see the show.
Who else you got on the show with you?
It's Richie Hector.
All right.
And Ellen Sugarman. She's coming from San Diego. She's a very funny comedian.
She's well regarded. Yeah.
Yeah. She started in the Boston area and then she moved to San Diego. So.
And then I'm just going to say this.
Sure.
But there might be a chance that you and I might be doing a show sometime in January. We can't say anything about it right now.
I do think it's could potentially be in February, but
could.
Rafi's like, could potentially be February 7th, but I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah. It's in that void of the winter that nobody knows what time is.
Well, Rafi Gonzalez, thanks so much for coming in this morning, and good luck with the shows.
Thank you.
It's 8:23 with Bax and Nagle and Marty Caproni on Rock 102.
Uncle Sam wants you.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 8:42. It's the Bax and Nagle show. Light, I would call it. But not, I'm not saying anything about Bax's size. I'm just saying he's not here today, and he's not going to be back until January 2nd. So it's just me. It's Marty Caproni, and we're just shooting the breeze here, man. Your Pioneer Valley forecast, sunny today with a high of 35. It's 29 right now in downtown Springfield. You just had a story about the Kowloon up in Saugus. Comedy club, Chinese restaurant, Asian restaurant, what do you want to call it?
Very similar to what the Hukilau used to be back in the day. For those of you who remember 30 years ago, the Hukilau used to have like a river that was in it, and there were lobsters in the little pond. That's what the Kowloon is like. It's like this really elaborate Chinese Polynesian food place in Saugus, just north of Boston.
Right.
Upstairs is a comedy club. Well, about a month or so ago, maybe, they found a gentleman stabbed to death in the parking lot. And they couldn't put it all together. And they just released information, the police saying that this gentleman apparently wasn't stabbed to death by anybody else. He used to wear a knife around his neck on a lanyard, and somehow he must have fallen or whatever, and the knife stabbed him. And he died.
That's got to be one of the stupidest things, like, to die over. Like, I always say that I'm going to die in some stupid way, and it's going to be from, like, falling. It's going to be from doing something I shouldn't have been doing. And this guy is no exception.
Well, and that's what I said to you. Yeah. I said, what are you trying to prove, or what are you trying to say about wearing a knife around your neck? What are you trying to prove?
Well, you're trying to prove that you're a tough guy, and you're not afraid to use that knife, but you're also showing everybody you really don't know how to handle a knife.
Your knife handling skills leave something to be desired.
Usually, people conceal that stuff, so it's like in your back pocket or in your like a holster in your sock or something. You're gonna pull that knife out and go, "Yeah, you want to mess with me?" Now it's like everybody's like, nobody wants to mess with you. Could you cut up my dinner for me?
It's all, well, it's some of the people that like I know that carry guns too. There's a few of my friends that have them that I'm like, they really probably shouldn't, And when I was in college, I had a friend that used to carry a gun with him everywhere. And when he was in Miami, Florida on spring break, he decided he was going to show off. He was loading his gun before they went out to the nightclub. He was driving, a buddy of ours was driving the car. He was in the back, and he went to load the gun, and he slid the chamber, and he blew off the back of his foot.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of things like people being stupid about that stuff. There was remember the video years ago when like YouTube first started becoming popular?
Yeah.
One of the videos they were showing was this DEA agent who was giving a demonstration, and he shoots himself in the foot in front of a classroom full of kids.
And he goes, "Is everyone okay?"
Yeah.
That's not what you want to do. Well, he has an active gunshot wound in his leg.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, I guess.
Because you're carrying around a knife around your neck. You might fall on it.
I think that's an odd place to carry a knife, to your point. Somebody asks for your wallet. You're like, hang on 1 second. Let me just take this lanyard off real quick.
Yeah. Let me just, hold on 1 second. Let me just get prepared.
Yeah.
And you hear the jingles of the chain going around you. Let's shift gears here. You ready? Representative Virginia Fox from North Carolina said Wednesday that the House Education Committee will expand its investigation into Harvard President Claudine Gay to include allegations that she committed plagiarism in academic work. The Education Committee previously held a hearing on campus anti-Semitism featuring Gay and the leaders of the University of Pennsylvania and MIT. At that hearing, the group controversially said that it would depend on context if calls for the genocide of Jewish people to be considered harassment. In a letter Wednesday acquired by Bloomberg, Fox said the committee will expand its look into Gay, focusing on whether Harvard holds its faculty to the same academic standards as students. Our concern is that standards are not being applied consistently, resulting in different rules for different members of the academic community. If a university is willing to look the other way and not hold faculty accountable for engaging in academically dishonest behavior, it cheapens its mission and the value of its education. It's absolutely right about that.
100%. That's one of those jobs. Imagine you get that job, right?
Yeah.
Top of your profession, becoming the president of a university. top of your profession being probably the most regarded university in the country, at least, right?
Yeah.
And you're gonna lose it all.
You're going to lose it all
because you plagiarized. You copied on your report.
Gay was accused of plagiarism in multiple academic works amid the scandal of her committee hearing response over anti-Semitism. The Harvard Fellows, the university's governing body, said the plagiarism claims were not significant. The Fellows initiate... Okay, plagiarism should be significant no matter if it's one paragraph or 10 paragraphs.
Well, that's...
Because you'd hold a student to that same fire, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, this is what I was going to say. I don't, being a comic, I'm one of these people that one of the things that bothers me about this cancel culture from both sides is everyone wants to take away the job or the livelihood of somebody for, quote unquote, doing something wrong. So I don't know the level of what it was or whatever, but it's real hard to say, yeah, there was plagiarism, but it wasn't significant when you're dealing with that level of visibility job at that particular university that's known for its academics. You know what I mean?
It's not a good look for you.
It's not a good look.
The Fellows initiated an independent investigation into the plagiarism allegations in October, the group said, consisting of a few instances of inadequate citation. While the analysis found no violation of Harvard standards for research misconduct, President Gay is proactively requesting 4 corrections and 2 articles to insert citations and quotation marks that were omitted from the original publications. Oh, I forgot to say that was from the Journal of Medicine.
Yeah. That sounds a lot like plagiarism,
Yes.
I gotta be honest.
Well, I mean, again, it's this hypocritical thing where people go around and they talk about, standards and ethics and all that stuff, and nobody follows
Did you see the other thing that just happened in Boston with the mayor in Boston?
Oh, with the people of the politicians of color
Christmas party?
Yeah, coming out to that.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, it was a mistake." No, it wasn't a mistake. It was a mistake that somebody publicly acknowledged it and sent out the emails.
She didn't say it was a mistake at first. She said it was.
She retreaded and said it was something that we always did, but there's gonna be a holiday party for everybody. But why are you having one where you're specifically excluding people based on the color of their skin?
One of her defenses was, well, we have parties all the time where everybody's invited to. This was just a specific one.
Well,
that we were doing.
Here's another thing that no one's addressed, which I can't understand, is in Massachusetts we have an open meetings law where you can't, if you're government officials,
right,
you can't have a quorum of officials together in a room. So if you're a city council of 10 or 12, and you have 7 or 8 in that room, you're technically violating open meeting laws.
Yeah, I guess that would be considered.
No one's talked about that angle, but that's like one of those things that I couldn't help but think about. Like, geez, that's crazy. You know?
On the flip side of this whole thing, just be glad you didn't get invited to a Christmas party. Why would you want to go to that? Why would you want to go and sit and listen to somebody go on and on about how great they are and what great they're doing for everybody else when they're really not?
I couldn't think of anything I would like less than spending my Christmas holiday season in a room with a bunch of politicians, regardless of,
But then, again, I wouldn't even be talking about this because I would have had no idea that this woman was even holding this party.
Yeah.
Nor do I care.
No.
But I bet you there is a guy out there, one of these politicians, who's really, really offended because he wants to go to all the Christmas parties.
No, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I think that the reason that people are offended, and maybe I'm wrong on this, is that they understand if the roles were reversed, that'd be kind of messed up.
It would be very messed up, and somebody would definitely be answering for something like that.
Right, 100%.
Right.
And I think that the hypocrisy of that is probably what's got people a little bit upset. You know?
You know what I'm not upset about?
What?
Not having to go to the party because, again, why would you want to subject yourself to something like that anyway?
Wouldn't. The only party I'd like to go to is one at Mayor Dom Dom's house. I that would be fun.
A party at Dom Dom's house?
Yeah, get that 1 pound meatball.
There ain't nothing going on now with the COVIDs. He's got the COVIDs.
Does he?
He's recovering from COVID. That's why his voice sounded so scratchy yesterday.
On the voicemail after?
He left us a very lovely voicemail telling us he appreciated his recognition yesterday morning when I did my Dom Dom's night before Christmas, which you can hear, by the way, at rock102.com or Spotify or the Stitcher app or any of those other places.
Or you're going to perform it live tonight at
I'm
Loft?
not going to perform it live tonight.
Come on.
No, I have other things I have plans on doing.
All right. That would really make the Christmas. I don't want to put pressure on it, but that would really make the Christmas
We got to
party.
separate these things. These are two different jobs, two different careers.
All right. Fine.
One I could care less about, and one I actually really want to.
I appreciate that you care less about the thing I've dedicated the last 15 years of my
Yeah,
life
but that's
to.
your thing. That's not my thing.
Well, yeah, but I care about this thing. I don't not care about this thing.
Well, I mean, I care about your thing, but maybe not as much as you do.
Well, with that ringing endorsement, I really hope people come out to see us tonight.
Well, hey, $25. How much have I gotten from that? From
20 if they reserve in advance.
Right, in advance. But,
appetizers, dinner, cookies, hot chocolate, comedy.
Listen, for all the advertising you've gotten out of this thing, I think View Street owes me some money.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
We'll get you some nice chicken tenders.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I was hoping you'd say that.
Well, I'll talk to the people, or I'll talk to Ed Nuno and see
all
if we get
right,
you.
Yeah.
I know some people in the kitchen, Jeff and Larry Austin. Maybe we can get you an order of chicken tenders.
You know what I always hated about the DJing the weddings?
What?
And people and I would never require anybody to give me a meal. But most people were nice enough to say, "Hey, what do you want to eat? We'll include you in the dinner."
Right.
That was under no contractual obligation. They were just nice and offering.
But they should. If they're smart and you're doing a wedding, you should do that. The other thing is the photographers. One of them just deleted someone's wedding pictures because they didn't buy him a plate at the wedding.
Was it in the contract?
Well, that's the thing. The photographer deleted all things. I think it's kind of petty. That's really messed up.
Very petty.
That's really
to
messed up.
delete everything.
Right, but you should always get the plate.
Listen,
for the DJ.
but no, because you're already charging enough money for somebody to be there. I can bring my own sandwich.
That's
I can
true.
eat
Yeah,
something
yeah.
before I go. It's not like you're only paying me $100 and you should be taking care of me all night long. I was just lucky enough for that people would do that. But then some of these venues wouldn't even let people buy you the dinner.
Sure.
They have a venue meal. And it
Right.
was usually like a chicken tenders
There you go.
or like something off to the side. It's like you got all of this food back here. You can't have one little piece of that fish that you got going out the door.
Dude, I'll tell you, one of the things that I learned as a comedian was because they feed you when you're doing weekends in comedy clubs. 90%. If you want something to eat, they're going to get you whatever you want to eat, whatever you want to drink. I always got the chicken tenders because so many of the comedy clubs, the food wouldn't be good,
Because they're not. It's not a restaurant. It's a comedy club.
I'll tell you though, like the Funny Bone in Manchester, they let you get whatever you want. They have a pretty good food. Like they have a good menu. Like Fred does a good job with the guys in the kitchen there. There's a place where I'd be like, oh, I'll try the steak or I'll try the whatever you guys have.
But you got to remember, a lot of these comedy clubs are really just turning bodies. It's not like it's not like nobody's going to a place for the filet mignon at the comedy club.
No, but listen, there's some places I did like in Ohio and Texas and stuff where I would not get like a Caesar salad because I know I would be loaded up with E. coli for the rest of the week. You know what I mean? Like there's some of those places.
What's wrong with E. coli?
Yeah, well, it's a great weight loss thing. Sure.
Yeah.
If you're trying to cut off an extra 30, 40 pounds.
That's like the guy yelling it from the valley. E. coli. Blowing on a big horn. Was a vuvuzela? Is that what that is? What is that thing that guy's?
Is that what it's called? Vuvuzela?
Vuvuzela.
Vuvuzela?
It was like one of those Brazilian things that they used at soccer matches. And they blow into it. It's like a horn. You ever see?
We used to have the plastic horns when I was a kid growing up. You blow them until your lips would get numb.
Yeah, they call it a vuvuzela.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of these things. Anyway, well, you know what? Thanks for we'll come back for one more break. But it's 8:56. It's the Bax and Nagle Show with Marty Caproni, and that's it. Rock 102.
Earlier with Bax and Nagle.
'Twas the night before Christmas.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 9:13 and Van Halen on Rock 102. It's the Bax and Nagle show light, if you will. Bax out till January 2nd on vacation, and Marty Caproni is here in the hot seat.
Filling in.
It's going to be sunny and a high of 35 today. Sunny and a high of 35 tomorrow. It's 29 in downtown Springfield. I just got to tell you about this event we got coming up here, Bourbon Barbecue and Blues. Happening February 3rd at the Delaney House in Holyoke from 6 to 9 p.m. It's an evening of great food, smooth drinks, and hot music. Admission includes a Hudson whiskey tasting, a multi-course meal, and live music from Neil and the Vipers. Tickets and info at rock102.com. Less than 100 tickets remain. So you want to get that, if you want to especially give that for a holiday gift, you can give that to the bourbon lover in your life. Bourbon Barbecue and Blues, February 3rd at the Delaney House from Dave Miner Exterior Home Improvements, Aqua Pump, and Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
Hey, you know what I wanted to tell you?
What?
I heard this commercial that you did for Aqua Pump this morning when I was driving in.
Yeah.
The one where he goes, "Thanks, Steve from from the radio."
Yeah, right.
It was very funny. I thought it was a very funny commercial.
We actually had a lot of fun making those.
Yeah, you could tell.
Yeah, because we have them in like once a quarter, and they come in and they record the commercials, and it takes forever. Because we all get along. And we all just
like in the commercials.
We're all just having a good time, and then we get off topic, and then we're like, oh yeah, we got to go and record these commercials. So let's.
No, they're good guys. I like those guys.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Aqua Pump. Those are the guys you need when you have a water problem.
That's the folks.
That's the folks.
And when you have a comedy and dinner problem, Steve, you should call.
That's right. Marty Caproni. Where can we get tickets tonight?
Listen, I'm going to say it for the last time.
Yeah.
All right. We're doing a special Christmas party edition. So you can bring your coworkers, your office mates, your friends, your family, whatever you want to bring them out.
This is at Loft Comedy Club, by the way.
Loft Comedy Club tonight. View Street, above View Street Tavern in Chicopee. We're going to open the doors an hour early this week. So it's going to be 6 p.m. There's going to be Christmas music. There's going to be hot cocoa. There's going to be some past appetizers. And then there's going to be dinner, a nice stir-fry dinner from Chef Jeff and Chef Larry. That'll come out around 7:10. And then the comedy show at 8. It is $20 if you buy in advance. You can do it through the Venmo on the poster, or you can just even reserve in advance, just either through the Facebook on Loft or through messaging me on one of the apps, or $25 at the door.
All right. Well, that sounds like
and you're going to be there.
I'm going to be there.
You're now part of this thing.
I'm doing a short set.
Okay.
Very short appearance.
A Christmas story, if you will.
A Christmas story, if you will. You encourage that.
I do. Most of us are going to be doing something Christmas related. I think most of the comedians. But we got some great ones. Lee Syatt from Joey Diaz's podcast will be there, and we got the kid who was voted funniest comedian in Austin, Texas. He's coming in from Austin. He's going to do a longer set, I think, and we got a bunch of other, probably like 6 other comics. So it's going to be a great show.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'll be there. I told you I got a little reunion. I was hoping they'd come out.
You got to take the railroad guys over.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get them out there.
Bobo the Chimp, is that what they got?
Boffo the Chimp.
You got to take Boffo the Chimp.
Yeah, he knows his stuff, man. He used to write my jokes for the Today in Rock History feature.
I love that you had that job. Everyone always says I was a long day working on the railroad.
Yeah.
You literally worked on the railroad.
I did, and it wasn't. It's not really something that people really aspire to be. I mean, maybe if you're my brother's a train engineer, so they
make really good money.
He does, and he. But the schedule's not that great, and until you actually, he's been there for almost 35 years now, so
sure.
He's got seniority, but still. You're on the lower half of the seniority because a lot of these guys don't want to retire when they reach the age. I was like, wow, I would be out of there in a heartbeat.
They're making what, like 6 figures driving those trains? A lot of them
depends on what you're doing and where you're doing it. Yeah, I would have roughly say 6 figures would be good for a guy who's been there for quite some time. But I mean, all the BS that you have to deal with in order to get it, but. I worked in an office. I was a clerk. All I did was do safety inspection. I did safety inspections and like clerical work. It was just pumping information into a computer, inspecting things and whatnot. There was so much downtime Like,
Yeah, that's where you get to be funny.
I'd work like midnight to 8. I'd have all the reports done by 1 o'clock, and then eventually I wound up bringing in my PlayStation, and I had a hand-me-down PlayStation from a buddy of mine, and then I went out and bought Grand Theft Auto, and I mastered all the Grand Thefts all night long while I was sitting there in the office. I didn't really do anything.
Waiting for that first derailment where then you immediately have to throw the PlayStation in the trash and be like, hey, listen, I was doing safety inspections all night. I don't know why.
The good thing is all I had to do was be the guy to call somebody in a case of emergency. I never actually had to deal with actual emergency.
I trust you. I trust you to do that. I think,
you would?
Yeah,
I
I
would call the cops.
No,
I'm the guy that
about
calls the cops.
I don't know about that.
No, you call the hazmat team or you call whoever the response team is when you have a derailment in the yard. It wasn't really, the money was great.
Yeah.
But it was not something that you'd want to do for the rest of your life.
No, it's not as fun as morning radio.
And you know what? And when somebody would come in and ever try to make a big deal about you not doing anything, you got the union behind you to tell you, sit down and shut up, boy.
That's the best right there.
Yeah, they got your back.
Yeah, I remember my dad was a union crane operator at Local 98 right here in East Long Meadow. My dad, I remember there was days where he'd show up on the job and whoever the project superintendent would be like, you're going to do this today. And my dad would be like, it's too windy to do it and do it safe. And the guy was like, you do it or you're off the job. My dad would just go, all right. And he'd just pack his stuff and leave. Yep. And he'd be like, I'll be back tomorrow. You're still going to pay me because ultimately you're going to deal with these people if you're trying to make me do something I don't want to do that might be unsafe. You know?
Oh, well, yeah, there was a lot of unsafe things that went on down there, and nobody really paid attention. We were just like the little dinky rail yard. Now they're a little bit more vigilant on the safety issues.
Yeah, well, that's good. It's a good thing, especially after that train derailed in Ohio, the East Palestine one, and the whole town is now like a war zone.
Listen, the environment will clean itself up, Marty. Come on, don't worry about things like that. You and your fear-mongering.
Everything's biodegradable if you just wait long enough.
Yeah, listen, it just dissipates into the air. It'll go somewhere. It won't be around you anymore. So anyway, Loft Comedy Club tonight.
Yes, please.
6 o'clock
come.
doors open, and make sure you get your tickets beforehand by messaging Marty.
Or just show up at the door if you want to pay the extra $5. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know?
You can do that, too.
Knock yourself out.
It's 9:21 with Bax and Nagle and Marty Caproni on Rock 102.